Hi there and welcome back to the LLK Sew Along. This is day 5. We have added in our leg elastics and now we're going to do our waist elastic. You want to have your elastic marked at your halfway point and your quarter points. If you're sewing the vintage ruffle or anything with ruffles that needs to be tucked out of the way, go ahead and clip those. Your side seams will be your quarter points, and we just need to figure out the halfway mark for front and back. So I'm going to match up my side seams, and I'm going to clip on one end, and I'm going to clip on the other end. Okay. Then on the inside, we are going to put the overlap where the center back is. Match up the edge of the elastic with the edge of the swimwear. Put your clip back on. Continue on to the side. Here is my mark. So I'm going to put my clip, keep going around. I see my center mark. Okay. Keep going around. We've got one more side seam, and there's my mark. And see if you can show inside. You can see my swim fabric is bigger than my elastic, so we're going to stretch the elastic as we sew. We are not going to stretch the swimwear though, the swim fabric. So we will go back to the sewing machine. Okay, we're at the sewing machine. We are going to stitch on our elastic to the lining side of our waist. Now, if you are sewing a elastic into the top of a suit, you're going to follow the same process. So I'm going to put a couple stitches. I'm going to take my clip away. I'm going to take my right hand, and that's going to stretch out the elastic. Okay. I'm holding on to the quarter point, stretching my elastic, not overstretching it. This would be stretching the swim fabric as well. I'm only stretching the elastic until it matches up with the swim fabric. I'm going to use my thumb on my left hand to maneuver the fabric to keep it along the edge of the elastic. And I'm gonna, when I get close to it, then I kind of readjust. Alright, I'm to my first quarter point. Readjust. You don't end up with puckers on one part of your waist or anything like that. It will gather it up just slightly, but that's meant to be like that, as long as it's even all the way around. If it's not, you can always unpick the stitches and fix that portion. Alright, I got one last quarter to go, and then we're going to flip it around and top stitch it in place. Alright. If you're happy with how it looks, let's go ahead and flip it inside out. If you have any part like where your seams match up, but they are slightly not matching the front and the back across the seam, you can trim that just slightly and make sure you don't cut your elastic. That's entirely up to you. It's going to be hidden inside, but it does make it a little bit neater. For this, I'm going to go ahead and start at the side seam. And I've folded the elastic back towards the back. I'll show you. You can see it's folded towards the lining side. I've got my initial stitch in. We're going to use our right hand to pull the elastic. Our left hand is going to control where the swim fabric goes. You want to make sure you're using your thumb to pull that fabric taut against the edge of the elastic. That way you don't end up with any extra fabric on the outside of the elastic, because it will be noticeable. Okay, here we go. Readjust. Almost halfway. In case you're wondering, this fabric is not real glitter. It is printed to look like glitter. It's from Spunkin' Honeyhead, and they have some really fabulous swim and cotton lycra prints. Alright, coming up on that first ruffle. If you like to attach your fabric or your elastic with your serger, you can do that too. I do it every once in a while, but for the sake of these videos, I wanted to show that everything could be done on a regular sewing machine. I got back to that side seam. I lock my stitch. Let's go back over to the table and see how it looks. Okay, we've got the elastics in both leg holes and our waist. Now all I need to do is unclip my ruffles, and my Laguna vintage ruffled bottoms are complete. And if you remember from the other day, my daughter chose the Antibes tankini length top. So I cannot wait. Obviously I have that folded. I cannot wait to see her in this. That's going to be so cute. Now my older daughter chose the Monaco bottoms. So I have to finish adding the elastic. I got to baste this lining in first, add the elastic, and then the Monaco bottoms will be done, because remember this has a waistband instead of elastic at the top, and that got added in yesterday. And then her top is the Laguna top that we sewed the other day. The only thing I'll need to do with her is add in the bottom elastic. I've already got it basted to the lining. What I'll do for this, the back is shorter than the front, so that will not be my quarter point, but I will mark my halfway points. Then you can open it back up, match your halfway points, and you'll see that the quarter point is actually just on the other side of where the seam allowance gets pushed for this particular size. It should be pretty universal on all the sizes, but just double check. So that's where I'll match up the quarter points of that. You insert it exactly how we did the waist of the Laguna that we just did. And I know the other day I told you that I reduced the lining by 1/4 inch along the arm seam and the neckline to see if it would help keep the lining in the back without any top stitching, and it definitely does. So because when you pull the lining down here to match up with the front, it kind of pulls those seams and keeps them perfectly on the back. So after that, we are finished and we're ready to head to the pool, the sprinkler, wherever we want to wear these. So I hope you have enjoyed sewing along with me. I've enjoyed sharing my tips and tricks. And don't forget to be putting all of your pictures in the albums, so that way you can be eligible for the Sew Along prizes. Bye!